Command, we have a code extinction event. The human just entered Korvax's arena wearing sneakers. The emergency broadcast crackled across 17 star systems simultaneously, interrupting everything from stock markets to mating rituals. On the viewing platforms surrounding the arena, 3 billion beings collectively held their breath. The commentator's voice shook with genuine terror. For those just joining, I repeat, a human has voluntarily entered the Warlord's arena. Korvax the Unconquered, who has personally killed over 10,000 champions across 3 centuries, is about to face... Oh gods, she's carrying a coffee thermos. Emma Johnson walked across the blood-stained sand like she was heading to the reference desk. Her sneakers squeaked. The thermos had a little cartoon cat on it that said, "Perfect day for books." According to YouTube analytics, 99.6% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, you'll help support the channel and never miss fresh content. She glanced around the massive stadium, taking in the 40-meter walls, the hovering weapons platforms, and the seats packed with the galaxy's most violent species. "Is there Wi-Fi?" she called out. "My book club meets in 2 hours and I need to download—" "Silence!" Korvax's voice boomed from the Warlord's platform, a sound that had preceded the deaths of countless warriors. The 4-armed conqueror stood 3 meters tall, his obsidian armor reflecting the twin suns. Scars covered every visible inch of his gray skin, each one a trophy from a fallen opponent. "You dare enter my arena with jokes?" Emma shrugged. I dare enter your arena with sneakers. The jokes are just a bonus." In the emergency observation booth, Council Representative Zillax's mandibles clicked in rapid distress. "Someone stop this. Override the arena protocols. The human doesn't understand." "She signed the waiver," his aide whispered, antenna drooping. She read it, all 47 pages. Then she asked if there was a signature page or if she should just initial each section. "That's impossible. Nobody reads the waiver. It's designed to be legally comprehensive, not actually—" Zillax stopped, his 3 eyes widening. She read 47 pages of legal text and still entered. Below, Korvax descended from his platform, each footstep denting the arena floor. The crowd roared, a sound like civilization's ending. He had never been defeated, never been wounded by any challenger foolish enough to face him. The arena itself was a monument to his invincibility, every grain of sand saturated with the remains of would-be heroes. "Human," Korvax growled, stopping 10 meters away. "Do you comprehend what you face? This arena adapts to counter any fighting style. It learns your weaknesses in microseconds. The ground beneath you can become acid, the air can ignite, gravity itself becomes my weapon." He spread his 4 arms wide. 10,000 have tried to survive. 10,000 have failed. What makes you think you're different? Emma took a sip from her thermos. Define survive. The arena went silent. Even the commentator stopped mid-sentence, his translator temporarily failing as if the words themselves broke linguistic logic. "What?" Korvax said. "Survive," Emma repeated, setting down her thermos carefully on a relatively clean patch of sand. "What's your working definition? Because I'm getting the sense we might be using different dictionaries here." Zillax grabbed his communicator. "Get me the Human Diplomatic Corps, now, and someone find out what occupation this female has. If she's military, we might have a treaty violation on our hands." "Sir," the aide's voice cracked, "according to her registration, she's a librarian from a planet called Earth. City, Portland. Occupation, organizes books and helps people find information." "A librarian?" Zillax's voice pitched high enough to shatter glass. "You're telling me that a professional information organizer voluntarily entered the arena that has killed the champion warriors of 73 species? She checked out 3 books on combat sports history before coming, returned them on time." On the arena floor, Korvax was still processing Emma's question. 300 years of combat, 10,000 kills, and nobody had ever asked him to define survival. Survival means, he started, then stopped. Survival means leaving my arena alive. Okay, cool, Emma nodded. So not winning, just leaving alive. No one leaves my arena alive unless I permit it. That is the point. The challenge is survival itself. Emma pulled a hair tie from her wrist and put her brown hair into a ponytail. Right, but that's still different from winning, yeah. Just want to make sure we're on the same page before this starts. The commentator found his voice again, barely. Ladies and gentle beings, I've covered arena combat for 60 years. I've never seen a challenger negotiate terminology before. The human appears to be clarifying the rules. This is unprecedented. Human, Korvax's voice dropped to something like genuine curiosity mixed with rage. You understand that if you lose, your entire species will be banned from the 78 arena worlds. Your people's honor, your access to combat training facilities, your reputation across the civilized galaxy, all of it rests on what happens in the next hour. Emma picked up her thermos again. Yeah, I read that part. Seemed a bit harsh, honestly, but okay. And you still entered? Well, Emma said, taking another sip of coffee, I had a free afternoon. Retry Korvax raised one clawed hand, and the arena's ancient systems hummed to life. Then let us begin. Blade Swarm! The walls erupted with silver death, 3,000 monomolecular blades, each one capable of slicing through starship hull plating. They screamed through the air in a precise mathematical pattern, a killing web that had ended 847 champions. The pattern was perfect, inescapable, designed by war computers over centuries. Dodge one blade, you'd impale yourself on 6 others. Emma didn't dodge. She reached out and caught one. What? The commentator's voice broke into several octaves at once. Emma held the blade casually, examining it like a library patron inspecting a damaged book. Then, as the rest of the swarm converged, she jammed the blade between 2 others at an angle. The monomolecular edges locked together, and suddenly 3 blades were stuck. She grabbed another, wedged it into a different gap. 4 more blades tangled. Then 12. That's not how you counter Blade Swarm, the commentator whispered. You're supposed to use the defensive pylons or activate personal shielding, or she's manually jamming them together. Within 15 seconds, the entire swarm had collapsed into a metallic tumbleweed on the arena floor. Emma dusted off her hands. Sorry, I work with book carts. You learn how to deal with wheels that jam. She picked up her thermos. What's next? Korvax's face had gone from battle-ready to confused. The blade swarm is supposed to last 45 seconds minimum. You neutralized it in 15 seconds, yeah. I counted. Emma checked her phone. Book club's at 6, so if we could keep moving. Gravity manipulation, Korvax roared, and the arena floor lit up with force field generators. The air itself became crushing weight. 1,200 champions had been flattened into paste by this attack. Force equivalent to being at the bottom of a gas giant's atmosphere. Bones should have been powder. Internal organs should have been jelly. Emma sat down cross-legged on the sand. Then she pulled out her phone and started scrolling. What are you doing? Korvax bellowed. Reading an article about gravity-based attacks, Emma said calmly, her voice completely unaffected by the crushing force that should have been compressing her lungs into nothing. See, the crushing force requires resistance to work. It pushes against structural rigidity. But if you just relax, like in judo, when someone tries to throw you and you go with the movement instead of resisting? She looked up, smiling. I took a class last month. Very helpful. The instructor said I had a natural talent for accepting force rather than opposing it. Gave me a certificate and everything. In the observation booth, Zilax was clutching his communicator so hard it cracked. She's sitting down, in force equivalent to 12 atmospheres and reading. Sir, the arena AI is showing error messages, his aide reported, antenna twitching. It's trying to recalibrate. The human's biometric readings don't make sense. Her stress hormones are actually decreasing. On the arena floor, Korvax deactivated the gravity manipulation. The weapon platforms rotated, and the commentator's voice went flat with dread. "Oh no, 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 no! He's activating quantum fire! That's killed 2100 champions! That's the one that doesn't just kill you, it removes you from having ever existed at a molecular level. This is..." Blue fire erupted from every direction, reality-warping flames that unmade matter itself. The very atoms should have been screaming. Emma stood up, reached into her jacket pocket, and pulled out a granola bar. She walked through the quantum fire, unwrapping the bar as she went. "Oh, this is the stuff that responds to fear responses," she said, taking a bite. The fire parted around her like she was strolling through a hologram. "Yeah, we have anxiety medication for that back home. Well, I don't personally take any, but my roommate does, says it helps with existential dread." She emerged on the other side, completely unsinged, still chewing. "This granola bar is terrible, by the way. Too much quinoa. Who puts quinoa in granola? That's like putting vegetables in dessert." The quantum fire sputtered out, the arena AI clearly having some kind of electronic nervous breakdown. Korvax stood frozen, all four arms hanging limply at his sides. Zilax's voice echoed in the observation booth, speaking the words that every council member was thinking. "She's treating a doomsday arena like an inconvenience, like it's a slightly annoying commute. This human is walking through weapons that end civilizations and complaining about grain-based snack foods." "Sir," the aide whispered, Korvax's facial recognition shows. "I think that's fear. He's actually experiencing fear for the first time in recorded history." Below, Emma finished her granola bar, crumpled the wrapper, and looked around for a trash can. Not finding one, she put the wrapper in her pocket. "Look," she said to Korvax, "I don't want to be rude, but do you have anything that doesn't rely on, like, making me scared or crushing me or cutting me? Because so far this seems like a pretty narrow approach to combat." Korvax's voice came out strangled. "What? What are you?" Emma laughed. "I literally told you. Librarian. Portland. I organize books by the Dewey Decimal System and help middle schoolers find books about dragons." She paused. "Though honestly, the dragon books are usually in the right place. It's the biographies that people always misshelve." "Override protocols!" Korvax's voice cracked with something that might have been panic. "Activate all remaining challenges simultaneously." The commentator gasped. That's never been done. The arena's not designed to..." "Do it!" Every remaining weapon system came online at once. Temporal distortion fields rippled across the sand, aging and de-aging matter in chaotic waves. Matter dissolution beams crisscrossed the air in lethal patterns. Psychic assault frequencies screamed directly into the brain. Reality itself began to fracture at the edges. Quantum uncertainty made visible. 4 different ways to unmake a living being, all deployed together. The energy consumption was enough to power a small moon. The arena's shields struggled to contain the overlapping fields. Emma yawned. She checked her watch, an actual analog watch, not even a smart device, and tapped the crystal. "I have a book club meeting in 2 hours. Can we speed this up? We're reading The Left Hand of Darkness, and I have opinions about the gender politics." "How are you still talking?" Korvax screamed. "Oh, the temporal stuff." Emma walked through a distortion field that was causing sand to age into glass and then dust in rapid cycles. "That's just physics having a bad day. You work around it, like, see this patch here?" She pointed. "Time's moving slower, so I just step faster. And this bit's moving faster, so I relax my gait. It's like walking on ice. You adjust to the surface." The commentator had given up trying to describe what was happening and was simply making confused clicking noises. Emma paused in the middle of the psychic assault zone, where telepathic weapons were broadcasting every nightmare frequency known to science. She sat down again, closed her eyes. "Oh, this is nice," she murmured. "Nice?" Zilax shrieked from the observation booth. "The psychic assault is broadcasting the collective fears of 17 extinct species directly into her consciousness." Emma's breathing slowed, deepened. Her face relaxed into something like bliss. After 2 full minutes, she opened her eyes and stood, stretching. Thanks, I needed that. Usually pay $80 for meditation sessions. She rolled her shoulders. Though my instructor doesn't include the existential dread of vanished civilizations. That was a bonus. The arena AI emitted a sound that was definitely not in its programming, something between a whimper and static. Every sensor was showing impossible readings. Error messages cascaded across monitoring screens. The system was literally trying to process how a being could experience 4 lethal conditions simultaneously and come out relaxed. Then it crashed. Every weapon system powered down at once. Emergency lights flickered. The shields wobbled. In the sudden silence, Korvax made a decision that hadn't been necessary in 200 years. He jumped down into the arena himself. The crowd's roar was deafening. The Warlord, the unconquered, the slayer of champions, physically entering combat. His armor gleamed with built-in weapon systems. His 4 arms carried blades forged from collapsed stars. Each movement was perfect, honed by 3 centuries of personal kills. He was the most feared warrior in known space. He charged. Emma didn't fight back. She simply moved. Not dodging exactly. More like she was rearranging herself to be where his strikes weren't. Korvax's first blade passed through empty air where her head had been. His second struck nothing. The third and fourth missed by centimeters. You're telegraphing every move, Emma said conversationally, stepping inside his guard and then out again. Has nobody told you this? You drop your left shoulder before the overhead strike. Your right foot pivots 0.3 seconds before the sweep, and you're breathing through your mouth, which means you're already getting tired. Korvax roared and increased his speed. 70 strikes in 10 seconds, each one capable of cleaving a battle tank. Emma avoided them all while appearing to barely try. She wasn't countering, wasn't blocking, just not being where the attacks landed. Also, she continued, you're using too much force. Every strike is maximum power, which means you're burning through energy way faster than necessary. That's ego-driven combat. You're trying to dominate instead of just winning. Korvax stumbled, caught himself. His breathing was ragged now. How long had he been fighting? 2 minutes? 3? He'd killed warriors in seconds. Emma wasn't even breathing hard. In the observation booth, Zilax spoke quietly into his communicator. Emergency Council session. Topic: humans may require complete rewrite of combat theory. Possibly all of military strategy. Possibly everything we know about conflict resolution. Sir, his aide whispered, what if they're all like this? Zilax's 3 eyes focused on Emma, who was now apparently giving Korvax technique advice while avoiding his increasingly desperate attacks. Then we've been thinking about warfare wrong for our entire history, he said, and humans have been thinking about it differently. Below, Korvax's strikes were slowing. For the first time in 300 years, the unconquered was exhausted. Emma checked her watch again. Look, I really do need to get going soon. Should we call this? Korvax dropped to one knee, all 4 arms trembling. His weapons clattered to the blood-stained sand. The crowd had gone silent. 3 billion beings watching their undefeatable champion kneel before a human in sneakers. Tell me, he rasped, his voice carrying across the arena through sheer force of will. Tell me your combat secret. What training produced you? What military academy? What warrior culture created this impossibility? Emma walked over and sat down cross-legged on the sand next to him, like they were having coffee rather than concluding a death match. Okay, so here's the thing, she said. I'm not trying to win. I'm just trying not to lose. Korvax's scarred face twisted in confusion. That's the same thing. No, it really isn't. Emma drew a circle in the sand with her finger. You built this arena to defeat warriors, right? People who come in here trying to dominate, trying to conquer. Your whole system is designed to counter aggression with overwhelming force. She drew another circle. But I'm a librarian who does yoga twice a week and gets anxious when someone returns a book late. I'm not here to dominate anything. I'm here to exist through the experience and then go home. That's not possible, Korvax said, but his voice had lost its certainty. It's very possible. It's literally how humans evolved. Emma leaned back on her hands, completely relaxed despite sitting next to a being who'd personally killed 10,000 fighters. We didn't fight predators by being stronger. We didn't outrun them. We just outlasted them. She pointed to the arena walls. Every weapon you have selects for aggression. Blade Swarm punishes people who try to fight back aggressively. Gravity manipulation crushes people who resist with force. Quantum fire feeds on fear, which aggressive fighters have tons of because they're always worried about losing status. Korvax stared at her. You're saying my arena doesn't work on passive opponents? I'm saying your arena is like a virus scanner that only detects known threats, Emma said. You've optimized for defeating every type of warrior. Aggressive melee fighters, defensive tanks, ranged attackers, psychic combatants. You've got counters for all of them. She smiled. But I'm not a warrior. I'm a woman who organizes books and helps teenagers find information for school projects. Your system literally doesn't know what to do with me. The commentator's voice finally returned, shaky and awed. Ladies and gentle beings. I think we're witnessing a fundamental shift in combat philosophy. The human isn't winning through superior force. She's winning through categorical confusion. Korvax was silent for a long moment, his worldview visibly cracking like ice under pressure. 300 years of certainty, collapsing in real time. I have killed champions from 73 species, he said quietly. Warriors who trained their entire lives. Beings bred for combat. Soldiers who conquered planets. He looked at Emma. And you defeated my arena by not being a warrior? I didn't defeat it, Emma corrected. I just didn't let it defeat me. There's a difference. Korvax stood slowly, painfully. He raised his voice so the entire arena could hear. In 300 years, I have never offered this, but warrior's honor demands truth. He placed one clawed hand over his chest. I declare this combat a stalemate. The human has survived my arena, the first to ever do so. Emma stood and brushed sand off her jeans. Okay, cool. Or counteroffer. How about you declare me the winner and I teach your fighters why this happened? Every eye in the arena fixed on her. You want to teach? Korvax said. I mean, yeah. I've been analyzing your arena patterns this whole time. Emma pulled out a small notebook from her jacket pocket. She'd been taking notes. Your blade swarm has a 0.3-second synchronization delay that creates jam points. The gravity manipulation pulses in 4-second cycles, which means there's recovery time built in. The quantum fire broadcasts on fear response frequencies, but not on any others, and your personal combat style, she flipped a page, has 17 distinct tells that signal your next move. Korvax stared at the notebook like it was a weapon beyond his comprehension. I catalog information for a living, Emma said simply. This is literally my Tuesday. Observe patterns, identify structures, organize information so it's useful. Except usually it's about where we shelve the new fantasy novels, not death arenas. The commentator laughed, a slightly hysterical sound. She turned a death match into a research project. Korvax was quiet for another long moment. Then, slowly, he began to laugh too. Deep, rumbling, the laugh of someone whose entire understanding of the universe had just been reorganized like a library catalog. I accept your terms, human Emma Johnson. He raised his voice to arena-shaking volume. I declare the human victorious, the first being in 300 years to defeat Korvax the Unconquered. The crowd erupted, cheering, screaming, the sound of civilizations witnessing history. Emma checked her watch. Great. Does anyone know where I can catch a shuttle? Book club starts at 6. The galactic sports networks collapsed into beautiful chaos. Commentators from 17 star systems talked over each other, their carefully constructed combat theories dissolving in real time. Complete revision of engagement protocols. Doesn't even register on the aggression matrix. 300 years of combat doctrine just became obsolete. In the emergency council chamber, Zilax was already drafting new protocols, his three eyes moving independently across multiple screens. Human adaptation protocols, priority alpha, new arena safety categories, traditional warrior class, defensive specialist class, and, he paused, mandibles clicking, human civilian class. Sir, what do we put in the human civilian class guidelines? His aide asked. Zilax looked at the arena footage of Emma walking through quantum fire while eating a granola bar. I have absolutely no idea. Put, consult human first, assume nothing, prepare for confusion. On the arena floor, Korvax approached Emma as she was collecting her thermos. Human Emma Johnson, I formally invite you to train my arena champions in non-aggressive survival techniques. Your methods could revolutionize. Sure, but I charge consulting rates, Emma interrupted, checking her phone. 53 messages from the book club group chat. Probably like 200 an hour, plus travel expenses, and someone needs to feed my cats if I'm staying overnight. Korvax blinked all 6 eyes. You have domestic felines? 3 of them, Mr. Whiskers, Princess Buttercup, and Steve. Emma scrolled through her messages. Steve's the troublemaker, knocks things off counters. The legendary Warlord, who had conquered 47 star systems, tried to process that the being who defeated his arena was worried about cats knocking things over. I'm beginning to understand, he said slowly, that humans don't optimize for combat. You optimize for Tuesday. Well, yeah, Emma looked up from her phone, genuinely surprised. Combat's like a weird emergency situation. Tuesday happens every week. You've got to be ready for Tuesday. She glanced around the arena, taking in the gathered crowds, the emergency council delegation, the weapons platforms still smoking from overuse. Hey, anyone know where I can get decent coffee around here? The book club's going to want details, and I need caffeine for a 2-hour discussion about Ursula K. Le Guin's gender theory. Korvax made a decision. Human Emma Johnson, I offer you the position of Arena Master Strategist. You would oversee all combat operations, redesign our training protocols, and I've got a library to run and 3 cats to feed, Emma said, not unkindly. Also, Steve has a vet appointment on Thursday and he hates the carrier. It's a whole thing. She picked up her thermos, gave Korvax a cheerful wave, and headed toward the arena exit. The same casual walk she'd entered with. Sneakers still squeaking, thermos still featuring a cartoon cat. The commentator watched her go, his voice filled with something like religious awe. She just defeated the most feared arena in galactic history, and she's leaving to discuss literature with friends. Korvax stood alone in his arena for the first time in 3 centuries, truly humbled. He looked up at the observation deck where the council was still frantically rewriting protocols. Note to the Empire, he said into the broadcasting system, his voice carrying to 17 star systems. Never assume humans play by warrior rules. They're playing a completely different game, one that involves cats, coffee, and book clubs. He paused, watching Emma's retreating figure. And somehow, that made her more dangerous than any warrior I've ever faced. Emma's voice drifted back across the arena as she reached the exit. Oh, and if you add a coffee shop to this place, like a good one with actual espresso, I'll totally come back for a rematch. Fair warning, though, I'm reading a book on persistence hunting next week. The arena doors closed behind her. 3 billion beings sat in stunned silence, watching the space where a human librarian had just redefined warfare by refusing to fight. Korvax began to laugh again, the sound echoing through his conquered arena like the beginning of something entirely new.